then that cell has lost its hemoglobin.
Oh,
So
I see.
if
The
it's,
heme at the
it's
center.
lost its hemoglobin, which is one of the symptoms of COVID, not because of the virus, but by other contributing factors. This is a function. Now, one thing I'm going to say here, which 99.9% of the world's population doesn't even know, is that hemoglobin is what provides immunity to the body.
Not the white blood cells, the macrophages.
No, the white blood cells are sanitation engineers. They go around and pick things up, sweep things up. You know, they'll even have some solutions. They're called ROS, reactive oxygen species, which they secrete, which are reduced hydrogen and reduced oxygen. And I don't know how deep you want to get into this. I mean, I can go very deep, but I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to share with you is that people on the surface will take whatever's being said because they don't understand the biology of what I'm talking about, and they don't do the testing, and so they have to trust.
Yes, and you know, Dr. Young, I think part of the issue over here is that the world of biology, microbiology, molecular biology, immunology is being presented to the layperson as so complex and so intricate that we are being given no other option but to trust that these are experts. They've studied this under microscopes for years. They know what they're talking about. You've got to trust them.
They don't know what they're talking about. They're storytellers.
Because the virus theory is just a theory. It has never been
virus theory has never been proven. Never. Not by anyone. In
that
fact,
is huge.
Many years ago, because I saw what's happening to a lot of people in the 80s and 90s, I offered a $1 million reward, and then I upped it to $5 million for anyone that could identify, isolate, purify, and isolate the HIV virus. It's never been done.
Not
Luc
possible.
Montagnier received the Nobel Prize for his discovery for HIV. And yet he was disfellowshipped at the University of Paris and put out to pasture, ended up in China. We met up in Milan, Italy in 2011.
Okay.
And I asked him what happened. He says, well, you know, I changed some of my opinions. I don't, just like Duisburg, HIV does not cause AIDS. And I said, well, what is it? I says, well, you know, here again, they don't know.
Has he published this change of opinion?
Well, he received the Nobel Prize. And then here again, they've had to pull off of this because any real scientist who's looking at the gold standard for isolation, purification and isolation of any particular element, you know, organic or non-organic, okay, needs to do that without then putting it through, let's say, viral cells, which contaminates the isolation. But if you're going to isolate something, you have to isolate it, you have to purify, then isolate, and then you have to infuse that into, you know,
a healthy animal or person, right?
Yeah, to create the same symptoms that were created in the first. That's never been done with HIV. That's why I call it monkey business, because they were doing the testing on monkeys. They could never recreate AIDS by injecting their so-called HIV samples, or their so-called isolations into those monkeys.
And yet they've projected huge propaganda around the world that, you know, it's actually being transmitted through bodily fluids.
Well, the same person that started the propaganda on HIV is the same person that started the propaganda on the coronavirus. They're the same person.
Who is that person, or need we ask?
Well, you just have to go back to history and who is the director of the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease. Who is it
It
now?
was this
And
the same person who's,
it's
and
the
I think
same
it's
person.
perfectly, yeah, it's
It's the same lie that's been promulgated.
perfectly, okay, I think, to mention his name, Dr. Fauci. He was present there, and he's present here as well. And one has to wonder, of course, behind one person is always a whole network, right? Of
Well, the
bricks.
narrative's been going on for a very long time, and here again, it's to the benefit of who?
Right.
To the people? I don't think so.
Or to a group of very power-hungry elite.
Yeah. So here again, I don't discount the fact that there's a corona effect. I discount the fact that there's actually a virus, a specific isolated virus that's actually causing these specific diseases. And I've said this, and I've said this now for 4 decades, and I've been on this for over 40 years. Germs do not cause disease. Germs are the symptoms of cellular breakdown due to a diseased environment, which has many contributing factors, i.e., food pollution, water pollution, air pollution, inoculation or drug pollution, lifestyle pollutions, including what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. These are the contributing factors that pollute the vascular, then the interstitial fluids, which are either eliminated through the pores of the skin or through urination or defecation or respiration, or then accumulate into the connective tissues, i.e. the muscle or the fat, causing irritation, inflammation, induration, ulceration, and degeneration, which brings me back to my first publication in the 80s, which was called One Sickness, One Disease, and One Treatment. But this is not good for business if there's only one sickness and one disease and one treatment. And the one sickness and one disease I defined as the over-acidification of the blood and then the interstitial fluids due to an inverted way of living, eating, and thinking. And the one treatment is to restore the alkaline design of the body fluids through an alkalarian, which I trademarked and copyrighted, the word alkalarian, not vegetarian, not fruitarian. These don't work. Not veganism. No, it's alkalarianism.
Very interesting.
And I defined that on the stage of Tony Robbins in 1998, where I introduced the word alkalarian, which was the invention, credit due to my son, Adam Redford Young. He came up with the word. I didn't.
Brilliant.
Okay. And the reason we came up with this word is because Tony Robbins asked me, what do you call this? This is not vegetarian. It's not vegan. What is it? And Adam came up with the word alkalarian. I said, perfect. He's a wordologist. I mean, he comes up with beautiful, beautiful words. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I come up with one. So I coined the word, the spike protein effect, or the corona effect. Yeah,
I think that's from very sharp phrase, very striking phrase, the corona
spike protein effect, or the corona effect. So if we're looking at lost hemoglobin, then it's obvious that if we're losing hemoglobin, and that can be quantified under tests that we do, which are called comprehensive blood tests, which test blood counts anatomically, that tests hemoglobin anatomically, the number of molecules are measured. Mm-hmm. And then we can visually see it under the various scanning microscopy mechanisms, from electron to, from transmission to scanning to phase to even dark field. So it's obvious to me that I've cross-correlated qualitative testing with anatomical testing with quantitative testing to determine that if I see codicytes, that this person is low in hemoglobin, which is what causes anemia.
Now, do you see these scotocytes in people who are supposed to be suffering from these so-called SARS-CoV illnesses?
Yeah, because the main molecule that's used to manage and maintain the alkaline design of the body fluids is hemoglobin. It's not these reactive oxygen species of hydroxyl radicals and SO minus and HO minus that's released by the killer lymphocytes.